Are you up and running?
Sending data. It looks like we live.
Fun.
Me?
Almost.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Let me switch from you.
Okay, I see you.
And then we're going to
So techy. So technical.
ooh, ooh.
Okay.
Here we go.
So punctual today. Can you okay, chat is working. Woo woo.
Welcome, welcome.
Hey guys, welcome. So my name is Marina. I'm the founder of Creatively, and I'm joined here by my fiance, Alex,
Hello, hello, everyone.
the mysterious voice in the background.
That might be a bit of an oversell, but I'll take it.
Not at all. So we have Danielle in the house, Dawn, Sophia. Welcome, guys.
Where's everyone from?
Please say hi in the chat. Let us know where you're from. Let us know what you're drinking tonight.
Newfoundland, huh?
Foundlands. Very cool. So tonight we are going to be painting A Tale of Two Koi.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to give you guys about 10 minutes or so to set up so you have enough time to grab your drinks, grab your snacks, whatever else you need to do. And we'll start around 8:10. And in the meantime, I'm going to go over my setup. And while you guys are joining, please say hi in the chat. Let me know where you're from. Let me know what you're up to, what you're drinking tonight. Set this aside.
No, it's early, but also if anyone's a first-time painter.
Yeah, let us know if you're a first-time painter. Thank you, Alex. Sophia from Queens. We are actually streaming from Queens, from Forest Hills.
Okay, Sophia.
All right, guys. So, Alex, you ready? You ready for the checks? I'm going to go over my setup.
Are we okay? Yeah, let's do this. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so we have our 12 by 12 canvas.
12 by 12 canvas, check.
We have our palette paper shiny side up.
Shiny side up, check.
We have 6 colors of paint tonight. We have phthalo blue.
My favorite type of blue recently.
Phthalo green.
Stop
New
it.
one. That's a new one.
Stop
Phthalo
it.
green.
Okay.
We have white, yellow, black, and red.
I'm not going to repeat all those colors, but let's do this.
Is your microphone on?
I think so.
Can you guys hear Alex okay? Alex, say something.
When did you happen to sneak in phthalo green? This is a new one.
It just happened
happened?
It just happened. Okay. Josh is in the house. Welcome.
There you go.
Okay, so where were we? So we have a cup with water.
Cup with water, check.
You. We have 2 brushes. So one of them is a flathead brush, size 16, and the other one is a roundhead brush, size 4.
Flathead, size 16, check. Small brush, round, size 4, check.
Thank you. If you guys are joining with your own supplies, you could use just a large flathead brush and a small roundhead brush for the details. And then we also have paper towels.
Paper towels, check.
Thank
A
you.
little self supply, I like it.
And then we have a couple of extra supplies. So we have our design outline. So this is actually available on my website. I think Alex pinned
We did. There's a pinned
the link.
comment, and you can find the outline there. Is that
Yes,
correct?
and you guys are welcome to draw your own koi fish if you want. Totally cool.
Just be coyful.
Just be coyful.
Ah, I
Those
couldn't resist.
awful.
I couldn't resist.
The first koi
Been
pun.
holding it in for so long.
The first koi pun of the night. I hope there's going to be many more. So if you guys download this off the website, you could actually print it out, and then you could put it in back of your canvas, and you could trace it like so. But
Oh, wow.
if you guys purchased our Creatively box, we actually provided graphite paper and tracing paper, which we'll be using today.
There you go.
Which makes it a lot easier.
I'm excited.
So I have both. And then I also have a colored pencil for tracing. It's a little pro tip.
Extracurricular.
To use a to use a colored pencil.
Does it matter on the color?
What? No, it doesn't matter. Because you're just going to see what you're tracing.
Oh,
it's just much easier.
Sense.
And I think that's it. Am I missing some? Oh, I'm missing my adult beverage.
Obviously, the other comment, the other cup.
Yes, the other cup. So tonight we have a very basic vodka soda and lemon. And Alex, what about you?
I went back to an old faithful that I haven't seen in a couple of sessions. Ms. Yamazaki.
I feel like that comes up every session, no?
That's not true.
No?
It's hurtful that you say that.
Sorry.
It's okay. We trudge on. How would one make phthalo green? Essentially.
So you could use just blue and yellow, and phthalo green is a little bit more on the blue side. So you're using a little bit less yellow.
Okay. I like
so the more yellow you mix in, it becomes more like a lime green, which we're actually going to make later.
Well.
Yes.
I like it. I'm excited.
So we have a couple of minutes to go. Let me know if you guys have any questions about the setup or any of the supplies that you need to use, or how to mix your drinks, basically anything.
I wonder what the beverages are for the evening. What are you guys drinking this evening?
I see Ida is on. Ida, are you painting on a little 4x4 tonight? I'm excited to see what you come up with.
I'm so ready.
Do we have anyone international? Soundland.
We've gotten pretty global on these lives, at least.
Yeah.
Shipping is still tough international, but our presence grows.
Won't talk about shipping international.
That's fine.
So someone is asking what brand of paint we're using. It's the Creatively brand. So if you guys order from my website, you'll get pretty high quality paint. It's acrylic paint. And yeah, you'll be able to create really beautiful works of art. We have Lena in the house. Welcome. All right, guys, we're almost ready to get started. Alex, is there anything that we've missed before we get started?
Yeah. You know what it is, too.
Do I?
I hope so. We must pledge.
Well, that's how we get started.
Then it was a trick question. I don't even know. You lured me into that one.
Okay, so I guess we didn't miss anything.
I guess we are ready.
Okay, guys, so we are gonna begin with the Creatively Pledge. So I'm gonna take my large brush and I'm gonna hold it up in my right hand, very important. And please repeat after me. I promise
I promise
to relax and have fun,
to relax and have fun,
to not judge my painting
to not judge my painting
or the painting of others,
or the painting of others,
and to be fearless.
and to be fearless.
Cheers. You're ready. Hold on, I didn't.
Sound effects and all.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You know, I'm here to go the extra mile.
Okay, so we're actually gonna put our paintbrush back into the water because we're gonna be tracing right now. I forgot for a second.
First step.
Okay, so we are gonna take our traceable and I'm actually gonna put it to the side a little bit because this way they're too straight, they're too perfect, so we don't want them to be
It's not believable.
horizontal. It's not believable.
Not believable.
It's not nature.
There you go.
So I'm just gonna tilt this a little bit. So first I'm gonna put my tracing paper here. I already got paint all over my canvas. Is it funny? No, I don't think so.
A little bit.
Okay, so then I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna lean it a little bit. And then
Would this be easier like flat on a surface or like on the easel box? What would you recommend?
it depends. I mean, I always like to use an easel when I actually paint.
Okay.
But for demonstration purposes, I do it on the table.
Makes sense.
Okay, so then I'm putting my tracing paper on here. And if you guys want, you could tape it down. I'm just gonna hold it pretty tightly. And then I'm just gonna begin tracing this fish.
And away we go.
So I'm not pressing too hard because I wanna make sure that I don't rip my canvas. And I'm using a colored pencil just so I could see which parts I've already traced. And this shape is just to be used as a guide. You could change it later on. So for example, all of the designs that are actually on the koi fish, you could change and you could make your own spots.
Dare you say
That's a lot more fun.
improvisation
Yes.
is encouraged.
Thank you. And you could check to make sure that you're seeing it on your canvas. And yes, I am.
I'm still fascinated how that all happens.
How graphite paper works?
Yeah. I mean, yes and no, but just, you're not pressing on it, but bam, you remove the traceable and there it is.
It's like, it's magic.
It is magic. It's artistic magic.
You guys are also welcome to change up the type of fish that you have. It doesn't have to be koi. It could be sharks. It could be, I don't know, what else can it be?
It'd be a little tough with a tail of two koi,
Well, let's not talk about the name.
which is fantastic.
It is pretty fantastic.
You said not to press hard,
Not to press too hard.
but you want to get like enough pressure.
Yes, just so it comes out on the canvas.
Interesting.
I also learned new parts of a fish.
Did you?
While I was doing this tutorial, yeah. The whiskers of a fish, do you know what they're called?
I can only assume they're not called whiskers since you called them that.
They're not called whiskers.
What are they called?
Barbells.
Barbells?
Barbells.
I feel like I know that.
I hope I'm pronouncing it right, because that would be
I wonder if we've had any.
But I kind of like whiskers better, you know? It's cuter.
Well, yeah, it's more applicable to a feline.
I raised Alex's mic a little bit
Should I speak even quieter?
so you could hear the mystery.
Hopefully it's not too loud. I'm just,
Okay, let's see what happens.
behind the scenes narrator to the main event.
Okay,
How do we do?
pretty good. And you could go back in here and fix some of these lines. Looking good. So now we're ready to paint. Okay. So I am going to take my large brush.
Large brush.
And I am going to make a sea green.
A what? A sea green?
This is going to be a test. How do you think you make sea green? Or how would you make sea green?
You have phthalo green in there. But you'd probably have to, well, it depends what kind of sea. It could be a trick question. You might have to like lighten it up a little bit. Maybe, I don't know. Listen, you promised no pop quizzes. And then you just spring this on me.
There's no right or wrong answer.
Just tell them.
So we are going to mix the green and the blue to make a sea green color. So I'm taking a lot of green. I'm actually going to move this up a little bit so you guys could see what I'm mixing. And this is going to be the color of your water, so definitely play around, see what color you like. It doesn't need to be sea green for you. It could be a crystal blue, a very light blue. Yeah, we're making ours pretty dark, but feel free to change it up.
Waters, dare one say.
Could be very murky. It could be yellow. Or not.
Would you say it's more green dominant and just adding in some blue?
No, I'm using
Pretty
more
even?
blue.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
But that's just my preference.
For the for more murky color.
For more murky, you could use more green.
Okay, so opposite for a more blue color. Interesting.
Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I am gonna paint out the lily pads. So on either side, so I'm gonna have a lily pad here and one here. Okay, and you guys could place them wherever. They don't need to be in the corners, so they could be on the opposite corners. So just play around with it, and it could be more than two. I'm only gonna make two right now. So I'm gonna do a half circle here, and then a little triangle. And then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, But I'm not going to make it exact because nature.
No two lilies are the same.
And I'm going to
Hashtag nature.
make a little triangle here. Oh, and you guys can't see it. And it's really not perfect right now. It's actually pretty messy, and we'll just fix it later on.
There you go.
Ready?
I'm so ready.
So then I am going to paint everything else in with this sea green. So you're going to be leaving your fish and your lily pads, you're going to be leaving them white for now. So everything around those objects we're going to paint with the sea green.
This might be a foolish question. How do you like avoid going into the lines?
Into the fish?
Yes. Do you like trace it with a thinner brush?
Yeah, so we're going to be using our small brush later on to get into...
No, not inside the fish. Just
Not inside, but the outside of the
I see.
fish to get closer and closer to the pencil line.
Okay. That was never my best ability, staying inside the lines.
So I'm painting this canvas. I'm kind of going in rounded strokes because my pool of water is going to be round. Does that even make sense? That makes 0 sense. So because the ripples on the water are going to be round, so all of my lines are going to be going kind of around.
Well, it looks like the fish are swimming in a circular
yes,
fashion, which would
exactly
cause the water to be a little more kind of flowing in a whirlpool pattern with them.
Yeah.
There you go.
Whatever you just said.
Eloquency at its finest.
It's actually a really, really pretty color. It doesn't look as pretty on camera.
Does it look a little darker on camera?
It does. And murkier.
These koi are in some murky waters.
I feel like all ponds are pretty murky though.
For a second, I thought you said puns. And I was trying to figure out where was the koi pun in that one. It's like, wait, what? Yeah, most are. But I've definitely seen some koi fish in like not the most murky of waters. That was also
Have
broad.
you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Been to Japan. It was quite lovely.
So you guys can use a little bit of water just to spread the paint around. So I'm just dipping my brush into a little bit of water just to make the paint wet, and it spreads it around a little bit easier.
Should we be conservative with our paint amount? Or we're not overusing one?
No, because the blue is going to be used pretty much only for the water. So you're going to have a lot left over, I think.
I like it.
So I'm going closer and closer to the fish, but not too close because I'm going to use the small brush to get into right next to where the lines are. So I'm kind of going in as close as possible. And for the inside of this, I'm kind of just following the shape of these fish. So I want to make sure that I'm not seeing any white through the paint, so I'm covering up the canvas with this paint.
The dangerous life on those lines.
Is it making you
I can't even describe.
uncomfortable?
No, maybe.
So should we do some koi puns?
I'd like to see what the people's best koi pun can be.
We had a lot of good ones at our last live. We were trying to come up with a name for this painting, and there were a lot of koi puns thrown around, a lot of great ones.
I agree. Did you have any favorites?
Well, A Tale of Two Koi won, but that's not really a pun, is it? No.
Perhaps not.
But it was a great name. Thank you, Josh.
Yes. Did you think of a koi pun?
So we had Koimia River. Is that a pun? I'm forgetting what a pun is.
I'm very tempted to reuse mine.
Which one?
It'd be koiful.
Koiful?
Oh yes.
You've already used it.
I know. It was more aimed at your pun.
This part is actually pretty relaxing because you're just covering a big
Area.
chunk. Yeah, and you're not really worrying about all the details yet.
That comes later. It
That
all
comes
comes
later.
together later. Have you seen koi in real life?
I have in a Japanese garden several times in Australia.
Well, that sounds lovely.
There was a Japanese garden.
Were they very colorful?
I honestly can't remember.
Wow. Wow. I don't even know who you are.
I just remember their barbells were very long. So guys, did you know that koi fish are actually come in a bunch of different colors? So ours happens to be red, but they could come in black, yellow, I think blue spots. Orange, yellow, blue, black. So definitely think about what kind of design you want on your koi fish. It doesn't have to be like this one at all. It could be a completely different color and the pattern could be totally different. So you can make it a lot more fun than this. Ours is very...
Ours is very fun, but also a little
Oh, thank
conservative.
you, Alex. Very conservative.
To agree with Rana. Welcome, welcome. Is it still with the big brush?
Yeah.
Oh wow! So
I'm just going right in there.
you just didn't even use the small brush.
Well, I'm going to use it in a little bit. Right now, I'm still covering the big areas. And I'm just using a little bit of water just to help me spread the paint out a little bit. It looks super dark on my screen. But that just means that the koi is going to stand out a lot, the darker the water is.
Some good contrast.
Sure.
I see what you did there.
So I think now, I was going to switch to my small brush, but we'll go in.
There you go.
I see Jana joined, Yelena. Hey guys. Welcome.
Welcome.
So I'm going to switch to my small brush and I'm just going to get the areas around the fish.
What do you mean?
So I'm just going around the edges of the fish with a smaller brush just because I can't get to these small areas with a large brush. And I covered my barbells by, I really just wanted to say barbells. I covered my barbells by accident, so I'm just gonna bring them back later on.
Wow.
What?
Are you even allowed to cut off a koi fish's barbells? That's some koi on koi crime right there. Okay.
I think I also covered up one of the fins as well.
Not the gumdrop buttons. Do you know what that was a reference to?
What was?
The gumdrop buttons.
No idea.
I
I don't
can't.
even know what that
I
means.
can't tell if you're serious right now or not.
No clue.
Oh my lord. Do you know the Muffin Man? Oh my god, you definitely don't know what movie this is. I'm so hurt. It's okay. I'll try and just
Wait, is it good?
Shrek. Shrek. It's one of the
Wait, that was close.
best lines.
I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
okay. Very upset inside. Do you think the barbells can be different colors?
It could be anything you want in your paint.
You know, it's like having two different color eyes, but having two
Is it
different
like
color
that though?
barbells. Maybe. It's my creative piece. I can do what I want.
That's right.
Yes. Yes, Haida, it absolutely is. That's fantastic.
So you know, Koi Story was actually one of the
Hard in the running.
contenders.
Hard in the running. That was one of my
That was
person.
my idea.
Definitely not. Let's not even
What
pretend
are you
like
talking about?
that was one of the ones that I gave. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Fantastic. Ida, are you happy that Man City won? Sorry, honey.
Ida's on a roll with her Koi puns.
Want to spin one off, but nothing came to mind. Can we make our own koi, like extra scaly?
Of course. Why do you ask for permission?
I don't know.
To do whatever you want. You're painting.
It is. Like Bon Jovi says, my life.
So for the next step, I want the paint to be kind of wet. So I'm just gonna go over this background a little bit with my brush again with my large brush. So I'm just gonna do another quick layer here.
So what'd you do? How'd you get it a little, just a little more water?
Yeah, I'm just doing another layer.
With a little more water? Or just in
Uh,
general another?
just in general, and maybe adding in a little bit more water. So while the paint is still wet, I'm just gonna add a little bit of white to my existing color. So let me show you guys what I'm mixing. So I just added just a little bit of white to my existing color. And now I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna make the ripples. So I'm just gonna go with my brush and I'm kind of using the tip of this brush, so kind of the edge of it. And I'm just going in a rounded motion to make these ripples. And don't really worry about making them perfect because you could just cover them back up.
And nature. Nature can't just have perfect.
I didn't know where that was going.
The suspense. It's all about building the suspense.
So these ripples are kind of going around your fish. And it's almost forming one large circle, but not quite, because you don't want it to be a perfect circle. You're leaving a little bit of gaps between. And for some of these lines on the inside, it actually follows the shape of the fish. So for example, this curve is gonna kind of follow the shape. I think. This isn't very scientific, but I think that's how it is with ripples. So the same thing here.
You know, maybe. Yeah.
And you could wash your brush and go over the ripples with a dark color if you want to cover some of them up. So for example, like this one looks a little too wide. So I could go back in here with the color, with the dark color, and I could just go over it a little bit and it's gone.
And there you go.
Wasn't that so easy? And if your ripples are too light in general, if you use too much white, you could always just go back into it with a darker color to make them blend into the background a little bit more. And you guys are welcome to use your small brush as well to create some of these ripples. So I'm gonna try it. I don't know what's gonna happen. Maybe I'll have to cover it up. That's the worst thing that could happen, right?
Right? We're being
Right?
fearless.
Are being.
So, more refined ripples.
So I'm just adding a few more here. So I think I'm good with this many ripples. Should I keep going? I don't know. Good. What do you think?
I try to think of a koi about swimming around and around, but I couldn't get a koi pun in there.
I thought you were gonna tell me be coyful.
I wanted to very badly, but I knew you would make fun of me.
How's everyone doing with their water?
With their water?
With their pond water?
For a second, I
so
thought
weird?
you meant their paint water. I was like, why?
The paint water is actually a stunning.
Big.
No, it's like a crystal blue color. That would be a really cool color for the
Interesting.
pond. So while the paint is drying a little bit, I'm gonna take a break for a drink. What do you think?
There you go, a little refill.
Should we refill?
I
Is
think.
it too soon?
Is it ever too soon? Is the real question. Do you need some help?
I'm good.
My big ice cube split in half.
Yeah.
Like an iceberg.
So while we're waiting for a few people to catch up, you guys are welcome to paint the edges of your canvas. So if you're gonna hang up your canvas, which I highly recommend, it almost looks like a frame when the edges are painted. So you could actually paint them black, or you could paint them the same color as your water.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Which could look really cool. So it could be more of a continuation of your painting on the edges. And if you're doing that, I think that your lilies could continue as well. That could look really cool.
Takes a lot
Know what
of
I'm
commitment.
saying?
I do. I do. Seems like a lot of commitment. But I like where your head's at.
You gotta commit.
There you go.
So we did have our, so this is the March box with this painting. So we had our April box launch yesterday. I don't know if anyone saw the latest painting.
I was going to ask, are we revealing?
We are.
Stop it. Stop it. Let's do it.
So we've actually asked our email subscribers to vote on a theme for our next month's painting.
Thank you, everyone, for participating.
Yeah, thank you so much for participating. It's always really fun to see what you guys want to paint next month. So the winning theme was actually sunflower fields, which was kind of surprising because sunflower fields is very summery. It's not spring, but I feel like people are ready for warmer weather.
They're just ready to get there.
They're just ready. They're over winter.
That's fair. It's a little cold.
So our next painting is going to be called Eternal Sunshine.
Ooh.
And it's going to be a field of sunflowers. And this painting is actually done with a palette knife. So this is going to be our first palette knife painting, which I'm super excited about. It has really cool texture. I don't know if you guys can see. It's a little bit hard to see the texture, but the palette knife creates a really cool effect. So we'll have all the supplies that you need come in the box, and then the palette knife and brushes could be added as an add-on item. But I'm super excited about this.
Okay.
So anyone who's a return customer will get the palette knife automatically in their box. So it's going to be a little perk for your awesomeness.
For your wonderful loyalty.
Yes. And I'm just super excited to get into
Layering?
spring/summer mode.
And that.
And I'll show you guys the palette knife. This is what the palette knife looks like. And we'll be painting with this knife pretty much, actually, maybe like half the time. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be a lot of texture.
I'm excited.
Are you?
I'm excited.
Okay.
Eternal Sunshine.
So Shauna's asking, wasn't the door painting When in Rome done with a palette knife?
It was plastic knife.
Sort of, yes. So this was before we actually introduced palette knives onto our website. So it was done with a plastic knife, which is pretty much the same thing. But this painting is going to be a little bit hard to do with a plastic knife. So I definitely recommend getting the palette knife. Are we ready, Alex? I feel like we're ready.
1, 2, 3. Do it. We're ready.
Okay, this is also just like beautiful right here, these colors.
Is that your paper towel?
My favorite towel.
Everything is just turning into works of art.
Yeah.
Everything you touch.
Okay, so we are gonna paint the lily pads. We're gonna be using a lime green. So Alex, how do you, what
Don't you even dare. Don't you even dare.
You can get it wrong. What's the worst that could happen?
A little extra yellow with your blue.
That's right.
You're damn right it is.
So I'm gonna take a lot of yellow and, wait, no, a little bit of green, I think. Actually, no, the blue. Let's do blue.
What?
So you could actually mix the yellow with the green, but it comes out a little bit darker. It doesn't come out as lime green. But if you're mixing it with the phthalo blue, it actually comes out brighter. So play around. Let me actually see what it comes out like with this.
We're experimenting together.
That's actually really pretty. I'm going to use that.
Boom. Decided.
Okay, so it's green. It's the phthalo green with the yellow.
I like it.
But you guys play around with your colors, see which one you like better. So I am just going to paint the lily pads with this green color, this lime green. And also you could leave the edges white and then fill them in with your small brush.
You went with phthalo green and a little yellow?
Yes.
If you just had the blue and not a green to start with, would it be mostly yellow with a little blue?
Yeah.
Okay, so I wasn't too far wrong in
You
my
weren't
answer.
too far off at
You
all. There's
just
many.
decided to cut the corner and just go right to a starting green standpoint.
This is actually a really pretty green color. And this is where you guys could change the shape of your lily pad. So I covered some of mine up a little bit, so I can now make it a little bit bigger.
It is very nice.
It's
Bright,
so bright.
bright green for the lilies.
We're in spring mode. It's
They're very
March.
healthy lilies.
Should they be this bright?
Maybe. Photosynthesis, bruh.
So I'm just gonna go in here with my small brush and I'm gonna do the edges of this lily.
Lilies were like it. Someone have 3 lilies, make things non-symmetrical. As the great awesome power says, I also like to live dangerously. You don't know that movie at all.
I do actually, fortunately.
It's fantastic. How could you even say unfortunately?
Okay. So now I'm gonna wash my small brush pretty well because I want to be using a completely different color.
Oh,
Okay.
how the tables have turned.
So I am gonna create a very light gray. So I'm gonna use a lot of white and just a little bit of the black. Can you guys see what I'm mixing? I don't think so. I'm gonna use a lot of white and then a little bit of the black. If you guys add too much black, you could always go back in with white and just make it lighter. So I think this is actually, this might still be too dark, so I'm gonna make it even lighter.
Are we going for like a very light silverish, or what's the?
No, it's a light gray. It's gonna be used for the shadows, for the
Ah,
koi.
I see. Interesting.
So we are just gonna take this light gray and we're gonna trace around the fish, on the inside of the fish. So we're just gonna outline the inside of this fish, and I'm gonna do gray for all of the fins. So this is also an opportunity for you to change the shape of your fish. So if you want to make it a little bit wider, a little bit thinner, this is going to be your chance to do that with the light gray. If you want to make your fins very wavy and longer, it's going to look very pretty. So you could also do that here. And you could get messy with your lines on the inside of the fish because we're going to paint it white in the next step. But outside lines, that's kind of going to show. So just be careful with the outside of your line.
See, all this line talk is just.
Is it making you stress? Is it stressing
Anxious.
you out?
Anxiety through the roof. I just know I would be not good at.
You just broke the first rule of
I didn't
creatively,
even
your
finish the
pledge.
statement. I didn't finish the
Well, I
statement.
didn't let you finish the sentence.
You misheard what you thought you were hearing.
Just broke your oath.
I think you're hearing things. I think you're just, hearing things. So how did you make the light gray?
My comments aren't coming through. So the light gray, it's just white with a little bit of black. So I have it right here. So it's just a lot of white and just a tiny bit of black. And I'm just outlining the koi on the inside. And then coloring in all of the fins in gray. So you have these lines inside of your fin or tail or whichever part that is. It's okay, we're just gonna cover it up with the paint. So just kind of remember where those lines are approximately. And we're just gonna cover up this entire tail.
It looks so cool with the gray outline.
Does it?
Yeah.
It almost looks like a shark.
Right, it's like slowly coming together. You did say you can make this a shark
You still can. This is your chance.
right? You can ignore the pretty scales and fully commit. Do sharks have barbells or is it only koi?
I don't think it's only koi, but I don't think sharks have barbells.
That was said with like 70% confidence.
Like 60.
Okay. Do you think we should name our koi fish? That's the real question. A good dynamic duo. This so many opportunities. We need some classic dynamic duos.
What about peanut butter and jelly?
Wow, way to ruin it right off the bat. It's thinking more like Batman and Robin.
Oh.
But who's a fish? Who do we have? Are there famous fish? Nemo and
No, you
what was her
can't
name?
name them after fish.
Well, I can name that. First of all,
You could name them whatever you
I'm
want.
a lot. First of all, my creativity allows me to name them whatever I please. Second of all, what's a good dynamic duo?
Simon and Garfunkel.
Boris and Natasha.
I don't get that one.
What do you mean? Like the most classic names. Um, hmm. Unfortunately, all the duos I'm thinking about are the uh the sports ones
That's fine. Why is that unfortunately?
because you probably might not know some of them. That'd be like foolish. But you would know most of them.
What if it's Koibi and the other one is Bryant?
It'd be like Kobe and Shaq because they're the dynamic duo. Abbott and Costello. I like that one.
Ben and Jerry actually thought of that one in my head. I just didn't say it out loud. Thank you.
The classic Romeo.
Make it tragic.
Jeez.
Romeo and Juliet.
MJ and Scotty. Shaq and Quaby. What would you name yours?
Mary Kate and Ashley.
Wow. Wow. Mary Kate and Ashley. I don't know if I should be horrified or impressed.
Horrified.
I'm pretty sure I just, as long as we both agree.
So I'm now going to go in here with the white and I'm going to paint the inside of the koi, but I'm going to paint around these spots. I'm just going to go around all of these spots and I'm going right into my gray color so that the two colors kind of blend together. If your paint is already dry, you could just paint the gray over the white again. So that way the colors blend together. Because mine is a bit dry, so I have to add the gray back in here. Ida, is it sad that I don't know those two? Alex, do you?
Yeah, isn't that from Darkwing Duck?
For what? From
Isn't
what?
that from Darkwing Duck? Or it could be from something else, but I'm pretty sure uh the DuckTales. I could be incredibly wrong. Oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Incredibly wrong.
The Kid Cardi. Very nice, Sophie.
So guys, I'm adding the white, so I am painting inside the koi fish now with the white, but because my gray is a little bit dry, I'm going to add it back in here again, so that way the two colors kind of blend together. So I'm going right into the gray with my white, and then I'm adding the gray back in here. And kind of blending these two together. So in my koi design, I actually have a white strip in the middle here, which is actually the back fin. So it's kind of in perspective where when you're looking at it from above, you're only seeing this little strip, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? I feel like that made sense.
It definitely makes sense. Say
So
sense
I'm
again.
just gonna paint this part white. So I'm gonna go into my other fish with the white. I think I just went in with gray by accident. So I'm going here, I'm covering the head with the white, and then I'm going back in here with the gray and painting over this outline again and blending these two colors together because now my white color is wet.
I'm still trying to ponder the most dynamic
Names.
duo.
What about Beyonce and Jay?
That is a good one. Salt and pepper.
It has to be Peppa though, like
Obviously.
PPA.
I get it.
That's a good one.
There's a third. It could have been, Destiny's Child up in here.
Wait, what?
What?
So the same thing here, guys. I'm going in with the white and kind of covering up the gray, and then I'm going back in here with the gray. So that way the two colors blend together.
Thelma and Louise.
Are you still thinking of?
Absolutely. You got to get a good one. You know?
Had a few good ones. So if you finish the gray outline, you're going into the fish with the white and just coloring in the middle of the fish with white, but you're leaving the spots that you want red, you're leaving them out. So you're just coloring around the spots. The koi is starting to look pretty three-dimensional, right?
I'm
A little bit.
excited.
A little bit.
I'm excited. I'm trying to, contain all my koi.
So awful. So now that I colored in my koi, I'm gonna add some details to the fins. So remember those lines that you guys covered up? So I'm gonna add them back in again. So I'm just gonna go in with the white, and I'm still using my small brush here. I'm gonna go in with the white, and I'm just gonna add some curvy lines here. Here's one. And they're not going to be the same everywhere. So some of the fins are going to have maybe 2 lines. Another fin is going to have maybe 3. So definitely you could change it up a bit. One only fits 1. Maybe there's a second one. And now with the tail, I'm going to add a curvy line here and kind of extend it a little bit to the body of the fin. I'm sorry, to the body of the fin. To the body of the koi.
Wow.
The body of the koi, so it kind of curves around and goes into the tail. And that way it gives kind of this like cool 3D effect, how the tail is kind of curving. So it's just a curve that goes from the edge into the tail, if that makes sense. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to add some lines here too. And then I'm going to try to do the same thing where I'm starting from the body of the koi and then going into the fin. If you guys added a line somewhere where you don't want it to be, you could just cover it up with the gray again. So just go over that white line with the gray.
Oh, yeah.
And if you want, so this step is optional. I'm just gonna show you, if you want, you could add darker gray lines to your fish as well, just to add a little bit more dimension. So I'm just gonna take my gray and I'm gonna make it a little bit darker. So I'm just gonna add a tiny, tiny bit more black into it. So it's gonna be just like one shade darker. And then I could just go into here and add some darker lines here as well. And you could barely see it, but it's there. I don't know, Alex, can you see it? Can you see the darker lines?
Can I see the darker line?
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's a no. It's there, I promise.
I think I can see them.
Okay. So I'm adding some darker lines to the body of this fish just to separate the fin from the body. And I'm gonna do the same thing at the top. So just a little bit, just to make it pop. So I'm just like separating the fins a little bit. And this is just super, super subtle. So if you can't even see it on my canvas, that's good. I also added some gray lines to my fin, my tail. I don't know.
Fin tail?
Fin tail?
I thought you learned all the parts of a
I
fish.
did. Only Barbells stuck out.
Selective memories. Appreciate it.
So guys, while this koi is drying a little bit, I'm gonna go back to the lilies and I'm gonna add some yellow to them. So I'm gonna wash my brush pretty well. Need a refill? How's everyone doing?
Do we? How are
Do
you
we?
doing?
I'm still good.
I'm okay over here.
So I'm gonna still use my small brush and I'm gonna take yellow and I'm just gonna go around the lily. So I'm going around the edge of this lily. And then I'm just gonna add some curvy lines to the bottom of this lily here. And they're gonna be kind of different lengths and kind of thicker at the bottom. So they almost look like little triangles. This looks like a ruler.
Which
I
one
don't
is
know.
Mary Kate and which one's Ashley?
It's Beyonce and Jay.
Which one's Beyonce?
Beyonce is the one on the top.
I like what you've done with Jay's fin, tail fin.
Kind of like a diamond.
It is kind of like diamonds in the sky.
So I'm also going to add some curvy lines here. So if these are coming out too bright, you could always just go back in with the lime green and just cover some of it up. But I could just go over these lines with the lime green to make them blend a little bit. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side.
Just a little extra photosynthesis.
A little bit. Just some highlights.
I like it.
So I'm going over the edge first. Then I'm going to add some of these short lines into here. And you definitely want to make them different lengths. You don't want them to be all the same. And then if you want, you could go over these lines with your lime green to make them a little bit more subtle. I think I'm gonna fix this diamond shape a little bit.
What?
I'm gonna add more gray to it.
Don't ruin the diamond.
I'm gonna ruin the diamond.
Oh, come on. Jay was styling. He had some bling in his tail.
That makes me feel better.
I don't appreciate what just happened. I don't know if I should be apologizing to Jay or
So guys,
blaming Bay.
So now I'm gonna add a darker shadow around the fish. So we're gonna use the same sea green, but we're gonna make it a little bit darker. So it's gonna be less of the green and do a tiny bit of black to it. So I'm gonna do the blue. So I think you could see what I'm mixing. So I'm gonna do the blue, the green, and then just a tiny bit of black. And I'm just gonna go around this koi a little bit and make it stand out more. So you don't need to go around the entire fish. You just go around some of the parts, and then you could leave some of them blank. So it kind of gives a more natural effect. So it's only like one shade darker. So they're really starting to stand out a little bit, right?
Yeah, you hijacked Jay's diamond. Now he's just half diamond Jay and Bay. Were there any boy bands that were just two guys? We all had multiple.
No.
All of them boys, man. 90 Degrees and Sing, Backstreet
Well, I
Boys.
said Simon and Garfunkel.
I was at a music room.
What?
I was at like a boy band.
It's a band of two.
Okay.
That's what you just asked.
Yes and no,
There.
but we can let this slide. You are thinking creatively.
I see what you did there.
Zing. A little coy on the pun.
So again, guys, for those getting to this step, I'm just adding a shadow around the fish, and I'm just using the sea green color and just adding a little bit of black to it to make it just a tiny bit darker. Milli Vanilli, that's a good one. That's like a
Ida's on her game right now.
cat name.
You painting the barbells?
Not yet.
Have you forgotten about the
I did
barbells?
not forget about
Seems
them.
like you might have.
I would never. So I'm going to mention this later on, but I hope you guys share what you created with us. We would love to see it. So if you could post on social and use hashtag creativelybox, we'll be able to see it and share it on our own feed.
Tag us, absolutely.
Tag us, use the hashtag.
Hashtag.
Should we move on to the eyeballs, Alex?
Uh, yes.
Okay.
I'm ready. I was ready.
So we are going to be using black for the eyes. So the eyes are actually, they're not a circle shape, they're more of an oval. And they're kind of on the side of the head. So I'm going to create a big eyeball, well, not too big. Kind of like a long oval. So I'm going to create one here, and then I'm going to do another one on this side. So it's pretty close to the edge of the head. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. It's going to be an oval shape. And then I'm going to take white and I'm going to add the highlight into the eye. So this is just going to be a dot. And then 2 dots here.
The koi are starting to take form.
So I think I'm going to do the barbells now.
I think it's time.
So in the original painting, I made the barbells pretty small. I was being very conservative, but some koi fish have barbells that are really just long and wavy and very long. So you guys could have fun with the barbells. They don't have to be this small. So I'm going to use gray for mine. So it's going to be the same gray that you use for the outline of your fish. So it's just going to be a little curve. Kind of like a goat antlers. So kind of like that, it's curves. But you guys can go crazy with these.
Let the barbells run wild.
Yeah, let the barbells run. And you could add a little highlight to them. So if you want to make a lighter gray, you could just create an inner lighter line to make a little highlight. So this step is totally optional. I think I made mine too curly. Is there such a thing?
Yes, but also very much no.
Necessary.
Hashtag nature.
So the barbells are going to be a light gray. So it's going to be the same color that you used for the outline of your fish. So it's a pretty light gray, and then you could add a little highlight to it with the white. So now we're getting to the fun part, the actual design of the fish. So guys, as I said before, feel free to change up the design. So it doesn't need to be the spots that are in the original painting. It could be, you could go crazy with these. So you could use red, you could use orange, blue. What other colors did I have? Yellow?
Black.
Black?
I think.
Yeah. So we're only going to use red for this painting, but feel free to go crazy with the design of the koi.
What did you use for your
So for the eyes,
barbells and eyes?
So for the eyes, I used a black oval. And then I did a tiny dot with white. So let me just hold it up. So it's a black oval and then a white dot in the middle.
The barbells were with the gray?
So I actually forgot a step.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I forgot to paint the shadows around the lilies.
Wow.
So we painted the shadow around the koi. So now I'm going to add shadow around the lilies, and it's really going to make them stand out as well. So I'm also going to do the sea green, and I'm just going to add a little bit of black to it. And I'm just going to paint around the lily. And you could even bring in your shadow into this triangle here and just extend it a little bit. It's really hard to see the shadow on the screen. But it's there, I promise.
We just gotta take the artist's word for it.
Have to trust. And then I could take this shadow and just extend it a little bit into this triangle. So it looks a little bit more realistic. Okay, whew, I remembered. So now for the koi pattern, I'm gonna take red and I'm gonna mix a little bit of yellow into it. My brush wasn't very clean, now it's muddy. So just make sure that you wash your brush really well.
You tell me we have murky koi?
Muddy koi.
Muddy koi? How dare you?
So this really depends on what red you're using. If you're using the creatively red, it's already gonna have a little bit of, it's gonna be a little bit more orange. So just play around with how much yellow you wanna add to it. So it could be a little bit or it could be none. And then I'm just gonna go in here and I'm gonna paint these spots, and feel free to change it up. You don't have to make it the same design as what we had. So if you're following the design that I had in the outline, there's a little gap here. So this gap is actually the top fin. I think that's what it's called.
But we can let our koi design run wild.
Yes,
Imaginations, right?
yes. So if you forgot to leave this little space, you could always go back in with white after the red is dry and just add it back in here. So again, guys, feel free to go crazy with your pattern and add different colors to it, like black spots, yellow, white, blue. Is that it? Yellow, blue, black, red, orange. There's also
Orange.
orange.
You said yellow?
Yeah. Basically all the colors of the
Everything.
rainbow. Yeah, just everything except green.
Roy G. Biv.
Guys, we're almost done with this painting.
Okay.
We have maybe like one more step to go.
Does that include signing?
We have 2 steps to
There
go.
you go. It's the most important. You have to, an artist has to mark their work.
Agreed. I hope your koi is a little bit crazier looking than our koi.
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by the possible
I am
varieties
too.
of these koi. Jack be koi full, Jack be koi.
That's a good one. I'm so excited to see what kind of koi you guys made. So don't forget to post on social and tag us so we could check it out.
Yes, yes, yes.
It looks like my koi shape got a little bit messed up here, I think, when I was creating the shadow. So to go back into it and just add it back in. Looks like someone took a bite out of it.
Out of your
See
koi?
that? Yeah, do you see that?
Where?
Here.
I'm glad we're being specific.
Here. Yeah, I just fixed it a little bit. So guys, for almost your last step, This is optional, so you could add some scales to your koi.
Ooh, how do you do that?
So there's multiple ways, but the way that I did it, it's just white dots. Literally just white dots, and it looks like scales. So you could add it just on the side of your fish, and it's a little bit hard to see here. And since your red paint is still wet, just be careful not to smudge it. Or you could wait a couple of minutes and then add the scales on. Can you see that? So there's just a little bit, I'm just adding a little bit of the dots on the side here. So the last step is obviously going to be to sign your painting. So you could just sign it at the bottom or at the top, wherever you feel like it. And that's it. You guys did it. Awesome, awesome job. I want to see if there's anything else. So I think that was the last step. So thank you guys so much for joining. Don't forget to share what you've created and tag us using hashtag #CreativelyBox. And we'll see
Join
you
us
next
next month,
time.
absolutely, for
Yes.
Eternal Sunshine.
Eternal Sunshine, first Tuesday of April.
Woo!
All right, bye guys. Have a good night.
Have a great night.
Bye.